Georgia families are feeling the pinch. New numbers show our state is among the top 10 in the nation for credit card debt, with balances going up nearly $1 billion in just 3 months. The average Georgia household now carries more than $12,000 in credit card debt, and that is up nearly $250 just the last 3 months. Altogether, Georgians owe more than $46 billion, a jump of almost $1 billion in a single quarter. So what's driving up Georgia's credit card debt? Let's try and get the answer from Thomas Nitzsche, Vice President there with Money Management International. Thanks for being here with us today. Did I get the last name right?
That's it. Thanks for having me.
Yay, nailed it. All right, we're going to have a great interview here. What is the main culprit for all of this credit card debt?
Yeah, well, I think as Alex touched on it previously, we've seen inflation was a persistent problem for the last few years. And what happens is most households will use credit cards as really an extension of their income. If they're just making it month to month, as prices go up, what we've seen, especially around housing related prices, not just the cost of the house itself, but ancillary costs like taxes, insurance, utilities, those things all have crept up significantly, and really people lean on credit cards as a relatively safe, familiar financial tool. And unfortunately, you only have so much runway. If you continue to use credit cards month to month over a long period of time, that can really add up, and then you either run out of limit or you find yourself unable to make even minimum payments. So, among those that turn to our nonprofit for credit counseling, the average consumer has almost $30,000 in unsecured credit card debt that we're working to help them pay down.
So let's talk numbers. What does nearly $13,000 in average household credit card debt actually mean for families here?
Yeah, I mean, it's an additional monthly payment that they've got to, take into account in their budget. It can, obviously limit spending ability if you're trying to pay off older debt. And like it said, that is just the average, $13,000 per household. So, there's obviously people that are dealing with significantly more than that. Among the clients that we're counseling, it's more like $30,000, which when you're talking about a, 28, 29% interest rate on some credit cards, it can be very difficult to pay that down once you have that much in debt. So it's a real challenge for a lot of households.
What about people who are using their credit cards for everyday expenses, gas, groceries? Is that a slippery slope when you tell yourself in your mind, I'm going to pay it right off, I'm just using this card for the points, but you look up and you haven't paid it?
Right. I mean, we have the best of intentions, right? We think we can handle it all, right? But when you're using that month after month, and then prices continue to go up month after month, inflation continues to be a problem, it can be very difficult to right the ship. And so basically what we're seeing is that, incomes haven't kept up with the increases in cost of living on average. So more and more people are struggling with that. We see more and more consumers struggling with debt that is already in a collection status. About 1 in 4 consumers that we're counseling in Georgia comes to us with at least one debt that's already in a collection status, which means that it's been unpaid for several months and been charged off to a third-party collection agency. So at that point, it becomes very difficult because it's reported on your credit that then limits your ability to obtain new credit. It can limit your ability to buy a car or a home or potentially even work at certain places. So it really does become sort of a snowball once you go down that path, if you're not able to get control of it.
Really quick here, we got about 30 seconds. A lot of people have been dipping into their retirement savings to pay off current debt, so kind of going to the future to pay for life currently. Good idea, bad idea?
In general, it's not something we recommend because you really are stealing from your future, and that's money that should be earning interest over the years to support yourself in retirement. So it really is more of an option of last resort. If you're going to pull on those funds, it's a better idea to do it as a loan instead of a withdrawal. Because if you take it as a withdrawal, there's an extra penalty and taxes that you pay on it. So if you have access to take it as a loan, that is a decent option to consider, but not as a withdrawal. It's much better to work with your creditors to try to reduce the interest rates or come to an agreement on a settlement that you can pay off on that account, or look towards friends or family. Try to find anything that you can except for stealing against your future retirement, because it can be very detrimental to your long-term financial health.
All right, thanks for the tips.